Formula One is not just about speed and skill. When a world title is at stake, the pressure reaches extreme levels. And it's in those moments when everything can spiral out of control. Some of the most epic battles in F1 history ended dramatically, not at the checkered flag, but against the wall.
Onto the touch! Verstappen is out of the race, and that's a big...
Today, we will relive the most insane crash that decided championships, moments when a fraction of a second defined a champion or destroyed a dream. The 1990 first season title was on the line. Michael Schumacher, the young German from Benetton, was leading the championship by just 1 point over Damon Hill from Williams. Everything would come down to the final race, the Australian Grand Prix. Schumacher started strong, leading the race as Hill applied pressure. But then, on lap 36, a crucial mistake, Schumacher hit the wall and damaged his car. It was a moment that could have ended his chances, but then came the crash. When Hill tried to overtake on the next corner, Schumacher aggressively closed the door. The contact was inevitable. The German's Benetton flew off into the gravel, retiring from the race. Hill tried to continue, but his suspension was broken. Result: neither of them scored points. And Schumacher became world champion for the first time. If there's one rivalry that defined F1, it was Ayrton Senna versus Alain Prost, and one of the most controversial chapters of this war took place at Suzuka in 1989. The situation was simple. Prost, the championship leader, only needed to finish ahead of Senna to secure the title. Senna, on the other hand, had to win to keep his chances alive. On lap 47, Senna attempted to overtake at the final chicane. Prost, knowing that this could decide the championship, turned the wheel too early and brutally shut the door. The two collided and stopped in the escape area. Prost retired right there, believing the title was already his. But Senna, with his usual determination, managed to get his car restarted, returned to the track, won the race, and was later disqualified by the FIA for cutting the chicane. Prost took the title, but that wouldn't be the end of the rivalry. And the following year, Senna's revenge would come in an even more brutal way. If 1989 was one of the most controversial decisions in Formula One history, the following year showed that Ayrton Senna hadn't forgotten what had happened. The stage was the same, Suzuka, Japan, but this time, the conditions were different. Now, Senna was the one who could secure the title, and Prost, who had left McLaren to race for Ferrari, needed to win to keep his chances alive. But there was even more tension behind the scenes. Senna was furious because the pole position was placed on the dirty side of the track, favoring Prost, who started second. The Brazilian warned that if Prost tried to block him at the start, he wouldn't back down. When the red lights went out, Prost got a better start and took the lead. But before the first corner, Senna kept his promise. He kept the throttle wide open, didn't move his car off the line, and the result was a violent crash between the two. Both cars went off into the gravel and were out of the race. The impact was so huge it left Ferrari's mechanics in shock. Prost got out of his car furious, gesturing, while Senna, inside the cockpit, knew exactly what he had just done. He was the new world champion. It was one of the coldest and most calculated moments in Formula One, a year after being robbed of the title by Prost and the FIA. In 2010, Red Bull was dominating Formula One with an incredibly fast car. And within the team, an internal battle was about to become more explosive than any external rivalry. Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel were fighting for the championship, and the pressure to win was intense, as both knew the title was within reach. The race took place at the Turkish Grand Prix, and it was one of the most exciting of that season. However, what no one could predict was what would happen on the very first lap. Webber got off to a great start and seemed ready to secure his second win of the year, but Vettel wasn't willing to let that happen. When Vettel tried to overtake Webber, the battle was tight, but in the attempt to pass his teammate, the two cars collided. It was a brutal impact. Vettel lost the front of his car and was forced to retire, while Webber managed to continue, but his race was compromised. Red Bull was now in the difficult position of dealing with the damage caused by an accident between their own drivers. And of course, the drama didn't end there. The team lost valuable points that could have been crucial for the championship, and the frustration of Christian Horner, the team principal, was palpable. By the end of the season, Vettel would be crowned champion, but this incident marked a crucial point in his journey to the title, and the internal tension at Red Bull would never be the same. This crash was another reminder of how ruthless Formula One can be, and how even teammates can become the greatest rivals in the pursuit of a championship. If 2010 saw the clash between Webber and Vettel, 2021 brought one of the most epic and intense rivalries in Formula One history: Lewis Hamilton versus Max Verstappen. Throughout the season, the two exchanged wins in an exciting battle, and by the time of the British GP, the rivalry was so tight that no one could predict what would happen at Silverstone. In that race, Hamilton started on pole and seemed to be in control. But right on the first lap, what seemed like a normal position battle turned into a battle of titans. Max Verstappen, who was behind, tried to overtake Hamilton, but the two touched on turn 1.
He's going to try again, this time on the inside, a continent touch! Verstappen is out of the race, and that's a big crash!
The result was a brutal crash into the tire wall, and Verstappen was taken to the hospital after the impact, leaving everyone in shock. Hamilton received a 10-second penalty, but surprisingly managed to win after the penalty, which caused a lot of controversy. Verstappen was out of the race, but the psychological impact of the collision was strong for both drivers. Their rivalry reached new heights, and the title seemed open until the final race. The Saudi Arabian GP would be the stage for another showdown, and the season finale did not disappoint, with Verstappen finally securing the world title. But before that incident at Silverstone marked the psychological war between the two drivers and, without a doubt, was one of the most impactful moments in the fight for the 2021 championship. Now, here comes the hardest part. Which of these crashes was the most insane in Formula One history? Which of these incidents do you think was more intentional, and which one was simply a racing error? Or perhaps you have a different opinion? Leave your thoughts in the comments about what you believe was the most insane and decisive crash for the title. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything happening in Formula One every week. We bring you the biggest moments, the most intense rivalries, and everything you need to know about the world of racing.